Hello. In this video I'm going to show you how you can turn a form which contains data in a Word document into a database in Excel. So I have an example here of a form, just a standard form created in a Word document. It's just a table with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rows and 2 columns. And in it you can see just basic information, reference, name, address, etc., with a lot of narrative there in the first box and then another lot of narrative in the final box. So what would be really useful is, as over time we collect these forms, it would be very useful to convert this into a database, which means you can then do proper searches and filtering, and it's just a lot more user friendly. So that's what I'm going to show you now. And what I want to do is put it into a database here. So I have a blank spreadsheet, and before we start, what I'm going to do is add another tab, and I'm going to name the first tab landing page, and the second tab will be my actual database, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment. So if I just flick back to my Word document, now there's a couple of things you need to be aware of here, and that is the paragraph markers. Now, to show the paragraph markers, you click this button here, which is the show hide button. When you click it, it shows you all the paragraph markers, and you can see we've got a paragraph marker in there, in there, and in there, and this would have an impact, and there's lots of other paragraph markers as well in here. Now this will have an impact when we create our database, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we were just to start off with that portion there and copy, switch to our spreadsheet landing page, and then right click, paste, and you'll see that because of these paragraph markers being in place, it creates an extra line in the spreadsheet. And here we go. So I'll just make that a bit wider for you to see. Okay, so you can see here under name we've got that occupies rows 3 and rows 4, address 2 was row 6 and row 7, and here subject 2 had row 11 and row 12. Now the reason this is important and why we need to make sure we don't have this is because the next stage would have been to copy that, paste it in the database by right clicking and clicking on transpose. So what this does is turns the data from a downward table into a horizontal table, which is really useful, and we can start building our table out of it. But you can see here we've got column B, columns, we've got an empty column here, blank column C, blank column F, and blank column K, and that's not what we want. So best thing to do is to go back to the Word document, simply delete the paragraph markers by clicking on them, or just before them pressing delete, and we'll start this process again. Now the reason I'm not highlighting the whole table is because of all these other paragraph markers, it will give you the same problem. So I propose to do it in 2 stages. The first stage is the basic data that you're going to need to copy. Go back to our landing page, right click, paste, and you can see here it's all on one row each, which is great. Right click again and copy, go to our database, I'll just pop it there for now, right click, transpose, and there are our headers and there's our basic information. For now I'm going just to delete that because we don't want that anymore. Ignore the formatting and everything for the time being. If we go back to our main Word document, our main table, the next thing to do is we're going to highlight all of the data, copy that, go to our Excel spreadsheet, double click in the cell and press Ctrl V or paste, so it's all in there, and then we can just add the header, so just remind myself what the header was called. Half year term report. I'll just put that in there and go back to Word and do the same again. Here, highlight that, and once we've set this up, as we add more lines it will become a lot easier. So this is just the setup stage. Here we can now highlight the whole section. Again, press Ctrl C, double click inside the cell. Remember, you want it to go double clicking inside the cell, and then press Ctrl V and enter. If you don't do that, what happens is, I'll show you, if you just put your cursor there and press Ctrl V, it will paste all of it in, but it pastes it along across different rows, which isn't what you want, because it will just make the database completely corrupt and you won't be able to do what you want with that database. So I'm just going to clear that as such. So now we have the start of our database. Let's just pretty it up a little bit, just make it a bit more user friendly and readable. Now we'll just move the height up a bit. Now there we are. Now the reference, the reason it's so long and from top to bottom is simply because we've got a lot of narrative up here. This is a lot of narrative, okay? But in essence that's not really, we can always double click in there and read that, but what we want to try and do is we want something a bit more user friendly to perform filters on. So now let's go back to our Word document. Let's pretend we've opened up another form, but I have one here pre-prepared, and you'll see here, because I've got the show and hide character marks on paragraphs, there are no paragraph marks in there, so I can just highlight those first few rows, copy, go to my my landing page, right click, paste as normal, right click again, don't do anything, don't click outside of the area, it's already highlighted, and copy, go back to database, position it below the first row, right click, and then transpose, and of course it gives you again the header. All you need to do is just highlight the row and then delete. You can right click and delete the row, or you can press the Control and minus key and that will delete the row, but you've got to click on the row to do that. So that's part 2. That's the second record. Now we just need to put in the large information here, so go back. Now we've already got the headers, so we don't need that. We just need to pull this in. Oops, too far. Yep, okay, highlight that, press Ctrl C, go back in, remember double click, Ctrl V, enter. That's the next part. And finally the last part for that record, highlight, press Ctrl C, go back to your spreadsheet, double click, there's your cursor at the bottom left, Ctrl V, hit enter. That's the second one done. And finally, just to show you, I've got one third one, so pretend I opened up a new form, and same again, check that there are no backward P's paragraph marks, and there aren't. Highlight the range, the first few rows, copy, go to your landing page. Now this landing page is a temporary holding place, that's all it is, because when we've done this, copy, all this data here will be deleted, not the tab, just the data, because we don't need it anymore. Go to the end, right click, transpose, highlight the row, press Ctrl minus key at the same time, deletes the row, go back to the Word document and again copy this range of data, go to your database and then double click, enter, go back to the Word document to finish off, and go back to the Excel sheet, Control V, enter. Okay, and that is the first part of our database. Now, to make these less kind of really scary and long, what we can do, we can forget the wrap text, so we could take that off, and now it becomes a bit easier to read. And if you don't want the borders, you can just get rid of the borders, or if you want borders around everything, that's fine. We haven't got a border at this end here, so we'll need to do that. So we could copy the borders here and make it a little more, no, it's not got the same width of border, but you get the gist. You can always change that. So this is the, and of course this narrative would be different. I've copied this just to get standard narrative in, just to show you. But now you can see that we can start to build this database and actually get some useful information from it. So you can say, I'd like to know, perform a filter, so add your filters on there, and you can say I'd like to know everybody over born in 1967, so you just choose 1967, and then you've got that person. If you can imagine a larger database, this would be quite useful. So you can see it's just 3 lines at the moment, but as time goes on and you start to build this database up, you can see the usefulness of this over having lots of forms in a Word document. So just to finish off, at the end of when you've finished transforming all of your Word document data into the beginnings of an Excel spreadsheet, you just go to the landing page, you highlight it, and then clear all, and then you're back to square one, and then it's a fresh clean sheet ready to do more landing page data and create your database. I hope that helps, and see you in the next video.